Let us begin a new chapter today, that is Life Processes in Living Organisms Part 2. In the previous chapter, you had already studied about various processes are taking place in the human body. For example, we can say excretion, digestion, respiration, circulation, etc. Now, we are going to give more importance of reproduction today. Now, reproduction itself is of two types. One is asexual reproduction, other one sexual reproduction. Before starting asexual reproduction, we will study what is meant by reproduction. Reproduction is a process which is happening in a body in which from an organism a new organism forms. Now, it may be either through asexual reproduction or through sexual reproduction. If through asexual reproduction, if an organism produces, that organism will have ditto character like its own parent. Especially we can say genetically it will be similar. At the same time, as a result of sexual reproduction, if an organism forms, that organism will have the combined or merged characteristics of father as well as mother. In case of asexual reproduction, there is only one parent. From a single parent, new organism produces. But one speciality, if a particular organism, we can say that especially unicellular organisms as well as multicellular organisms are doing asexual reproduction. But there will be only one parent. Now the young one which is producing from the same species, ditto same character will be shown by the offspring or the young one. Now we will study in detail about asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is done by unicellular as well as multicellular organisms. Unicellular as well as multicellular organisms. Today we will study only about asexual reproduction. Now, this unicellular organisms reproduces asexually by three methods. First method, that is known as binary fission. Second method, that is known as multiple fission. Multiple fission. Third one is known as budding. Now, asexual reproduction is doing by, as I told you, by unicellular organisms by three processes. Now, multicellular organisms are reproducing asexually by 5 processes. One is known as fragmentation. Second one is known as regeneration. Third one is known as budding. Fourth one is known as spore formation, then fifth one, vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation. Yes children, here asexual reproduction itself is doing by unicellular as well as multicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms are doing by three processes. One is known as binary fission, second one is known as multiple fission, third one is known as budding. Now in case of multicellular organisms, they reproduces by 5 processes. One is known as fragmentation, second one is known as regeneration, third one is known as budding, fourth one is known as spore formation, fifth one is known as vegetative propagation. Now binary fission. First we will study about binary fission. This is doing by microorganisms like we can say bacteria as well as amoeba. Now here again we can say that multiple fission, that is doing by amoeba. Now here we can say binary fission is doing by bacteria, amoeba, even paramecium. Then euglena. Now multiple fission is doing by amoeba. Then budding is doing by a kind of fungus that is known as yeast. Now binary fission itself is of 3 types. Now this I am just rubbing it. First, binary fission. Binary fission itself is of 3 types. We can say that this is by one thing, simple binary fission. First one, simple binary fission. Second one is transverse binary fission. Then the third one, longitudinal binary fission. Simple binary fission, that is simple mitotic division, that is doing by amoeba. Or we can say even bacteria. Just they divide their cell into 2 parts. Then they grow independently. So we can say that amoeba, it is having very irregular shape is there. Here its nucleus will be there, then contractile vacuole, different organelle will be there. Any plane, either this way or this way, any plane, it divides into 2 parts and then it grow independently. That is binary fission, at the same time simple binary fission. Other one, transverse binary fission, that is doing by transverse binary fission, doing by paramecium. paramecium having such a shape is there. Here one groove-like structure is there. Then here its nucleus will be there. Here cilia will be there. Cilia means fibrous locomotory organ is there. Inside cytoplasmic membrane, cytoplasmic materials will be there. Cytoplasm will be there. Even various organelles will be there. Contractile, vacuole, various organelles will be there. Its body divides into two parts like that. Such a division is occurring to its body. So it is known as transverse binary fission. Now we are studying about longitudinal binary fission. This is happening in euglena. Euglena having such a structure. Now here reservoir is there. Here one flagellum will be there. One whip like a structure is there, flagellum. Then inside again nucleus will be there. Then what we can say, contractile vacuole will be there. Then various other organelles all will be there. Even cytoplasm will be there. Only one flagellum is there. Now it is going to divide its body longitudinally into two parts. Lengthwise its division is taking place. At the same time, you have to keep in your mind that even its single flagellum is there, that also divides into two. So here also one flagellum will develop. From here also one flagellum will develop. Afterwards, it separate and go, and it will grow independently. So we can say that lengthwise division will take place here. Here means a horizontal division will take place. Two pieces separate, then individually it will grow separate, then two separate organisms will form. This is known as a transverse division. This is simple division. Anyhow its body divides either this way or this way. Anyhow its body divides into two. So this is simple binary fission. This is transverse binary fission. This is known as a longitudinal binary fission. Now we are going to study about another topic, that is multiple fission. Multiple fission is happening in amoeba. This multiple fission is happening during unfavorable condition. When there is no food materials, even very high temperature is there, no water availability. During that particular time, amoeba reproduces by multiple fission. How it is happening, we'll see. Actually, amoeba is having such a pseudopodia. It is not having any fixed shape. No specific shape to it. But during multiple fission, these all pseudopodia disappear. All these pseudopodia disappear. Then it is going to get almost a round shaped body. So we can make approximately like its pseudopodia disappear and it is getting almost a round shaped body. After that, over its body, so we can say that this membrane is known as plasma membrane. Outside of the cell, an envelope or a cover is there. That is known as plasma membrane. Now, over or around this plasma membrane, a thick cover is producing. This cover is known as a cyst. A cyst is cover. A cyst is forming around this plasma membrane. It is a thick cover. Now, after that, inside, before it was having only one nucleus. As a result of multiple fission, this nucleus breaks into number of nuclei. So, one nucleus, it splits into two, again splits, like that way. After splitting, number of amoebulae forms. Number of amoeba will form. Everything will be inside this cyst. This multiple fission is happening during unfavorable condition. As a result of it, inside one amoeba, number of amoeba will form. So we are calling it as many amoebulae will form. Many amoebulae will form. Afterwards, same condition they remain till that adverse condition. Adverse condition means we can say that unfavorable condition. Till how much time will be there? Till the time all amoebulae will remain inside this cytoplasm. Here full of cytoplasm will be there. Inside all these amoebulae will be there. As and when rainy season begin, this cyst wall, this is the cyst, its wall will break, this plasma membrane will break, all these amoebulae will come out. Then it will spread large area. Then they start to live independently. So this process is known as multiple fission. So in one amoeba itself, many amoebulae, many young ones, young amoeba will form. Then as and when there will be favorable condition, all amoebulae will come out at once. Then it will spread the whole area. This is multiple fission. This is also taking place inside the unicellular organism. Now we are studying about budding. Budding is taking place inside unicellular organism. So one example only we are having for budding, which is taking place inside the unicellular organism. That organism is known as yeast. It is a kind of fungus. Its speciality, it is a unicellular fungus. It is a plant, it is a unicellular fungus. Now what is going to happen to it? Just imagine, this is a yeast. On its wall, a projection or a bud will form. Then here, this is the parent cell, it's a nucleus. Then cytoplasm, all cell organelles will be here. It will divide, its nucleus will divide. From that, a constriction will occur, little bit will pass to here. Even we can say cytoplasm, its a part will pass to this bud. Afterwards, this bud will grow big. Like that way big become, even the nucleus will enter here. Then slow by slow, here one constriction will occur, a cut will occur, nucleus, this nucleus will separate, this nucleus will separate. Once its growth will be, or it will be, and its growth will be complete, that particular time it will separate from the parent cell and it will grow separate. Then it will lead as an independent organism or independent yeast. Or sometimes what is there, it may not separate from the parent, then again on it other bud will form, again from this nuclear material will pass, then afterwards there one cut will occur, then this will grow here separate. Then like that attached condition also can be, or we can say they can separate and lead an independent life. Then all, here also we can say that cytoplasmic material, nucleus all pass to newly formed bud. If one, they can be able to separate from the parent, then they can grow independently and it can grow fully. And like that way separate also they can grow, or if want they can join and grow. That is also happening. Or independently separate organism, or separate yeast also forming, then they grow big in size. Once its cells growth full complete, again bud developed, and again all nuclear material as well as cytoplasmic material will pass to the bud, again new yeast will form. Now we are going to study about asexual reproduction, which is taking place in multicellular organisms. In multicellular organism, we had already shown you before. First process we can say is fragmentation. I told you there are 5 processes. This is the first process. Fragmentation is happening in algae, especially we can say a special type of algae that is known as Spirogyra. Spirogyra, a particular type of or a special type of algae, it is Spirogyra. It is a multicellular algae. Now approximate diagram I will draw and show you. Like that way structure is there. Inside number of cells will be there. During asexual reproduction, its cells will separate into pieces. Each piece will grow into a separate alga or separate Spirogyra. So we can say that this is cutting is taking place on its body. So we can say that this is known as fragmentation. And from each piece again new algae will form. Even one type of sponge known as cycon is a kind of sponge. This is also having very long body. Even its pieces, its body cut into pieces, and this is an animal. Cycon is an animal, but Spirogyra is a plant. Then its body also cut it into pieces. Then again new organism is forming. So we can say that cycon also doing reproduction, asexual reproduction by fragmentation. Now we are studying about other process that is known as regeneration. Regeneration is doing by, one example we know, house lizard. Sometimes if it is facing any danger situation, it itself cut its tail. Tail will fall down, half part of the tail will fall down, half part will remain with it. After few days, again its tail grow big. So we can say that that is an example of regeneration. Again generation is occurring. Again formation of the tail is occurring. So this house lizard is an example of regeneration. But it has some limitation. Its tail only grows big, no other part. If it's a hand or if it's a leg part is getting cut or any other part of its body getting cut, then it won't regenerate. So we can say that in case of house lizard, it has some limitation in its regeneration process. Only its tail part regenerate, again grow. Now if you are thinking of other organism, that is known as planaria. One example, planaria. It is having almost such a structure is there. It has such a structure is there. Now this organism, this is known as planaria. This organism's body cut it into two parts. Suppose such a way cut is occurring. Or we can say, now again I am drawing one more example. Such a way cut is occurring. Anyhow, its body is cut it into two parts. Each part can develop into a new organism. So we can say that this is the planaria is the best example for regeneration. Now we are going to study about other process, that is budding. Budding. This is doing by a special organism that is known as Hydra. Before we had studied, it is an example of multicellular organism. All these are fragmentation, I told you before. All these asexual reproduction doing in multicellular organism, I said. Fragmentation doing by Spirogyra. Regeneration doing by planaria, house lizard. Even now budding, before also you studied unicellular organism, yeast is doing budding. Now here multicellular organism, Hydra also doing budding. So here I am not writing as I written here, multicellular organism. So Hydra, I will show you an example of Hydra. Now this region has number of tentacles. You might be studied in your previous class, like that. So this is an example of Hydra. Now on its body wall is having some regeneration doing capacities there. So such a cells are there, regenerative cells are present. So any part on its body, here growth of the bud will take place. Such a bud growth will take place. So here division of the cells will take place. As a result of it, here a small bud will form, again tentacle will form. Such a way tentacle will form. After that, this bud will grow big. During that particular time, from this parent Hydra, nuclear materials, even inside body cavity, which all things are there, all these particles, cytoplasm, all body materials will pass to the bud. After that, once it gets sufficient growth for leading an individual organism, it will cut and separate from this parent Hydra, and it will lead an independent life. This is an example of bud formation as you studied in unicellular organism, yeast. Now we are going to study about vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation means growth of a new plant. Even big plants are doing this vegetative propagation process. New plants are forming from their root, stem, leaf and bud. Vegetative reproduction or vegetative propagation is doing by the root part of a plant, stem part of a plant, leaf part of a plant as well as bud part of a plant. Examples I am saying you. Here from the root, carrot, beetroot, sweet potato, etc. From the stem, ginger, turmeric, potato. Then from the leaf, only one plant is there, that is bryophyllum plant. From its leaf, new plant is growing. Now from the bud, we can say that rose plant, sugarcane plant, then different types of grasses. From there, stem. Now suppose bud means example I am showing you. This is sugarcane plant. All are familiar with this plant. Now from its, now if you are cutting a piece of sugarcane plant, from here where its nodal part is there, here node is there, here node is there, in between internode saying, in between two nodes, this is node, this is node, this is the internode. Where node is there, from there root will develop. After that, which part is below the soil? From there root will develop. Which part is there? Above the soil. From there, like that way, new bud will grow. Then they started to lead an independent life. Similarly, we can say if we are cutting a rose plant's stem, again if we are putting inside the soil, again it will also having. Now suppose such a rose plant's stem we people cut and removed, it will have like that way nodal region, you can see small nodal region will be there. Then here a part which is having node, that part we put it inside the soil. So from here its roots will develop, from here its bud will start, leaf will start to grow. So this is an example of from bud vegetative propagation is taking place. Then leaf, bryophyllum plant, its leaf I am showing you. Like that way, one leaf is there. Now its veins are such a way. Now you can find that wherever such a way, like that way its structure is there. Wherever such a notch is there, a special type of leaf is there. Such a notch is there, from there a new leaf started to grow. Then new plants are growing from this. Then where all such a buds are there, from there new plants are growing. This is an example of from leaf new plants are growing. This leaf is an example of bryophyllum plant's leaf. So we can say that vegetative propagation or vegetative reproduction is doing by leaf of bryophyllum plant. Now stems, potato you might be seeing, potatoes growth you might be seeing, even carrot, these all are carrots, carrot, beetroot, sweet potato, all are roots from their new plants are growing if we are putting them in the soil. Then here stem, ginger, then turmeric, even potato, these all things if we are putting in the soil, from there new plants are growing. So we can say that these roots are underground roots, inside the soil they are growing. These stems underground one, inside the soil they are growing. This leaf, if it is falling from a plant, it is a small plant, from that leaf will fall, then soil will, if we are covering soil on it, then from that a new plant is growing. Even this bud example, rose plant as well as sugarcane plant, you people are knowing about it. Even we can say that here some more plants are there, if we are cutting their stem and dipping putting in the soil, from that new plants are growing. So we can say that they are the examples of bud from there. Even grasses, new buds are developing from their stem. Even we can say that some of the plants from their roots, new buds are growing, then new plants are growing. Now we have to study the last topic, that is spore formation. Spore formation is happening in fungus. Spore formation. If we are buying bread, same day if you are unable to eat and finish. Then little bit wet condition if you are keeping outside. Not in dried condition, wet condition if it is keeping anywhere outside. Within 2 days, you can find that on that egg coating of, we can say that cotton-like outgrowth will be there. On that egg coating of cotton-like outgrowth, that is, we can say that spore formation or fungus. It is a kind of fungus. We can say mold is growing. A kind of fungus it is, that is mold. So bread piece if you are keeping outside, on that cotton-like outgrowth is becoming. This cotton-like outgrowth is a kind of fungus. That fungus is known as mold. Now, such a fungus or such a mold start to develop when it grow. Means we cannot be able to understand with our naked eye such a growth is taking place from it. Such a outgrowth is occurring from this mold. Then on it, such a way, spore filled bags will be there. This is known as sporangium. Sporangium. Inside there will be number of spores. These spores, where it falls, there, if it find favorable condition, there new mold will develop, new fungus will develop. So we can say that the growth of inside this sporangium, so many spores will be there. During favorable situation, we can say that if it is falling in the moisture, if it is falling on other bread piece, or we can say chapati or rice, or we can say dal curry, like that way such a food items, if it fall, then there it develop. So we can say that as a result of spores, number of molds will become. As a result of it, we can say that these spores are producing new molds. So we can say this is also an example of asexual reproduction. Here male as well as female plants requirement is not there. From a single plant, new plants are becoming. So we can say that this is again an example of asexual reproduction doing by multicellular organisms. Thank you.